All right, let's do these test corrections for multiplying and dividing equations. All right, evaluate the equation. We know evaluate is just the same fancy way to say solve. Get that together. Here we go. It's just a fancy way to say solve. We have our coefficient 8 and 4/10. It gets multiplied with n. Together, they're going to equal 42. So their product would be 42. All right, to solve this, we know whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So I'm putting in my Great Wall of China. I'm going to undo multiplication, which would be to divide. So I'm taking 8.4, dividing both sides by 8.4. So 8 and 4/10, that cancels out. We get n is equal to. So I now have it in the correct format. Now I just need to do my sidekick side work. I have 8 and 4/10 divided into 42. Now I notice right here that I have a decimal here in my divisor, which means it gets to move, which means the decimal here in the dividend also moves. So I'm really doing 84 now into 420. Decimal has landed here. So if I need it, I'm going to move it on up into my answer. All right, I don't know about you, but I don't know my 84 multiplication facts. So I'm going to take my best guess. I know 80 goes into 40 like 5 times. So 8 would go into 42. I would guess like 5 times. So I'm going to do 84 times 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 2. Hey, 42. Ding, ding, ding. It was a good guess. I get exactly 420. So n is equal to 5. All right, next up. Find the solution to the equation. Simplify if necessary. So it's a fraction. So if my answer ends up being a mixed number right now, like it is right now, this mixed number, then I'm going to make sure that it is in the smallest numbers possible, which is really the biggest size pieces. Here we go. It reads, n divided by 4 is equal to 7.5. I know to undo division, I multiply. So again, whatever I do to one side, I must also do to the other. These cancel out. I get n isolated, its own lone wolf like I want. And so now, all I have to do is some sidekick side work. All right. So I'm looking at 7.5 times 4. Well, I know that as a mixed number, I have to change it into improper fraction to do any multiplying. So I'm going to multiply and add to do that. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1, 15 halves. So I have 15 halves, which is equal to 7.5 times 4. And I'm guessing you are one step ahead of me. You know that you're going to change this into a fraction itself by making it 4 over 1. So either you're looking at 15 times 4 for 60, and then 2 times 1 for 2, and then you ask yourself, how many times does 2 go into 60? And you get 3 here for 6. Bring down the 0. 2 doesn't go, but placeholder, and you get 30. That's one way to do it. So you get it as n is equal to 30. Or, of course, you could have taken out your common factors to start. 2 and 4 have a common factor. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. In which case you would have had 15 times 2 for 30. And then it would have been over 1, which again is just a fancy way to write 30. So n is equal to 30. And off to the next one. Ashley ran a total of 24 miles in 6 days. She ran the same distance each day. Write and solve a multiplication equation to determine the number of miles she ran each day. All right, each we know is, of course, a word that can either mean to multiply or divide. Our goal is to write and to solve a multiplication equation, which means we have to put this in multiplication terms. So we need to know those factors that give us the product. All right. The fact that it says total of 24 miles was your hint that 24 is by itself. We know she did it over 6 days, the same exact distance. So it would be 6 days times some distance, which we don't know. I'm just going to call X. would give us 24. So here's the first part. Check, check, that's off. We have it written down, the equation. Second step is simply to solve. Right now I see that I am taking a number, x, and multiplying it with 6. To undo that, I'm going to divide. So divide here by 6, put in that Great Wall of China so I can see it visually. Whatever I did on this side, I need to also do on that side. I get x is equal to, and this is a math fact, 24 divided by 6 is 4. So she would have ran, so now I'm going to interpret 4 miles per day. Because it isn't a word problem, so I should interpret the solution. 4 miles per day. All right, next. Students on the school dance team were divided into 5 equal groups to learn their routine. There were 7 people in each group. Write a division equation to find how many students were on the dance team. So we're going to write the equation, and of course we might as well solve it because we have to find how many were there. All right, in this case it doesn't look like I must have left off the word solve, but we're gonna do it anyways. So let's start by writing this division equation. So we know that they are divided into 5 groups, which means some number of students, let's just call it S for students, they were split into 5 groups. And because it goes on to tell us that there are 7 people in each group, that 7 is by itself. So you have students divided by 5 equals 7. That'll tell us how many initial students there were. So again, first part checked where we wrote it. Now to solve it, it's simple. We would undo it. So I'm going to rewrite it. We have 7 divided by 5 is equal to, correction, S divided by 5 is equal to 7. To solve it, I'm going to undo division by multiplying both sides by 5. There's one side. Here's my other side. I get S is equal to 35. So in this case, that I'm going to interpret it to be 35 students on the dance team. All right. Next. Oh man, you can't see. There you go. Let me move it over. 35 students on the dance team. All right, next. That makes me wonder, did you see this up here too? Hopefully you did. Oops, my bad if you didn't. All right. Next one. 16 eggs are required to make 8 batches of pancakes. Which of the following equations could be used to determine the number of eggs needed to make 1 batch of pancakes? Well, to me this sounds like a unit rate problem. Not gonna lie. I know I have 16 eggs, and it says that it makes 8 batches. If I wanted to know how much for just 1 batch, then I could divide. So to me, it sounds like a unit rate problem, because it is. But to write it as an equation, you could simply just do 16 divided by 8. That's going to give you the number of eggs per batch, because it would. And so A is a possibility. Could we write it as a multiplication problem? We most certainly could. We'd have a total of 16 eggs. And if we had 8 batches, some number to represent the amount for each batch, that would give us 16 total. So another option would be D. All the rest are wrong. So A and D are the ones you needed to get credit. All right, next we have Jason wrote the following equation. 7n equals 63. He then solved the equation as follows. So this is how he solved it. I like to solve it myself first because I need to identify what his mistake was. So this is my error analysis. So if I take 7n equals, and I'm just going to not look at this right now, not look at his work. 7n equals 63. When I'm looking at it myself, I can say, hey, 7 is multiplied with n because 7 is the coefficient. So to undo that, I'm going to divide by 7 to bring me to n is equal to math fact 9. And now I'm going to check his work with mine. I divided by 7 and it looks like he multiplied. Oh, no, 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 no. We have to undo the multiplying, which is to divide. So his error was that he multiplied, Jason multiplied, when he should have divided. The correct answer is 9. Well, in this case, n equals 9. That's the correct answer. All right. Look at that. We're more than halfway done. And flipping the page. Now to some more test-like, so end of the year tests like questions. Write and solve an equation for the product of 5 and g is 30. So I have to write and I have to solve. All right, key word here is product, which means it's the answer to a multiplication problem. I have my connecting word and it is, I know, means put the equal sign. So I can see 30 already is all by itself. 5 and g, they're going to be together through multiplication. So I get 5 times g, 5g equals 30. First part done. Next part, solving. It says to multiply, so I'm going to do the opposite, divide, and let me put that Great Wall of China in. Yup, I have it done on both sides. Divide by 5, cancels out, g. Here on the other one, 30 divided by 5, I get 6, so g is equal to 6. Here is step 2. And next, write and solve an equation for the quotient of y and 3 is 4. So same concept, I'm going to write, I'm going to solve, but this time it says quotient. And quotient is the answer to a division problem. So I'm going to be dividing here. As I look for what to divide, I can say of y and 3. Well, that means y and 3 are connected. And now I know it's through division. So y divided by 3 is equal to, because is means equal to 4. So first step, done. Next step, solve. So I have y divided by 3 is equal to 4. I know to undo division, I need to multiply. So here's my Great Wall of China. Here's one side, multiplying by 3 because I want to get rid of that. So y is by itself, hip hip hooray. And on this side, I got to do the same thing, multiply by 3. So I get y is equal to 12. So yup, I have it formatted correctly. My variable equals 12. And next, straight up, solve problem. We have 40 is equal to 5v. So it says 5 times v. That's what that means. So to undo it, I divide by 5. Divide by 5. Another math fact. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So v is equal to 8. And then the final one of the day. Enter in the box below a value for h that will make the equation true. So I want to know, how is this going to be a true equation? It's tiny, so let me rewrite it. Right now it says h divided by 9 is equal to 5. Well, I can see it's saying I'm taking my variable and dividing by 9. To undo that, I know it's multiplication, so I need to do its opposite, multiply. And whatever I did to one side, I made sure to do to the other. Those cancel out. I get h is equal to 5 times 9, another math fact, 45. So, in this case, to make that a true statement, h had to be 45. Alright, that's my text corrections for this quiz. See you in class.